Welcome to Crimson Guitars, welcome to my home studio, and welcome to Tool Tuesday. This is a semi-regular tool-based video series where I look at the instruments of the luthier's trade and tips and tricks and bits and pieces, some restorations, fun stuff. Today I have an opportunity. A few weeks back I received a set of Workshop Heaven's Victorian cabinet maker's chisels. These are bevel edged, they are fantastic. Best London pattern octagonal handles, custom made Narex blades brought together by Workshop Heaven, and by all accounts, they're a fantastic set of chisels. The only problem is, I haven't sharpened them yet. And as they come from the factory, I could do some serious damage, but they're just not quite there. Today I'm going to go through two separate sharpening techniques, and I'm going to show you the pros and the cons of either. One is the scary sharp, which is something that I denigrated for many, many years. I thought it was just rubbish. I was wrong. And the other is using a more traditional Waterstone and hand-based technique. Let's see. Let me know in the comments below which one you prefer. And onwards. 6 chisels to sharpen. Sounds like fun. I suppose we'll do these two because they're the closest in size. And let's have a look at where we start out. Very beautiful, very long, a very fine edge to get into the most delicate of spaces. And as they come, many people could use them. Not me though. Nope. I require, it needs to be as sharp as humanly possible. What I'm about to describe to you, do not do on a plain blade. I don't register using the back of the chisel on anything really, for the most part. And when I do, it's not necessary for it to be micron precise. Now, something I do a lot is sharpen my chisels, and I want that to be done as rapidly as possible so that I can get back to what I'm actually supposed to be doing, which is, building guitars. Now, with chisels, what you can do is very gently take a fraction of 1/1000th of an inch off this section here. Shout at me in the comments below. And what that means is that when I am leveling the back of the chisel, which has to be done, or polishing the back of the chisel, I'm only working on the front edge. Look at Japanese chisels and you will see what I'm talking about. But anyway, on to the scary sharp system. First of all, I'm going to time the process. So what I have here is a thin strip of pretty coarse abrasive. This is 3M abrasive, and I'm literally just removing a section of material from here. This only has to be done once, really. And that means, there you go. I've removed a fraction of a micron, and it means that this next stage is going to be easier. I'm just using water. There are other options available. Now, in order to get a properly sharp tool, you have to, both faces have to meet at a properly polished surface. And actually getting that surface, that is the issue. So there we go. Within, well, a minute and 3/4, including talking time, I've got the back of that chisel to perfection. So the next stage is the bevel, and that's the easiest bit, really. So now I need to set the bevel, and I'm not going to match what it came with. I'm going to go slightly at a slightly higher angle. And create essentially a micro bevel. And it is quite important using the Scary Sharp system to only really pull. There we go. Let's see what you can... Oh no, we've got autofocus off. Where are we? 3.5 minutes. Actually, before I test it, I need to start timing again, and just clean the back up again, just take off any burr that might have developed. And there we have it. Let's have a close-up. And there we've got a secondary bevel. And essentially the whole point of this is that maybe instead of a 30-degree or a 25-degree bevel, I've got, I don't know, 29.5, for example. And it makes zero difference. It makes zero difference to the usability of the tool, but what it does do is mean that I'm removing a lot less material and spending a hell of a lot less time doing it. Now, do I enjoy this process more than Waterstones? Not really. Is it faster? Well, I did that on a never before sharpened chisel in under 4 minutes, so yeah, it is. Let's shave. Or would you rather cut some wood? What is this grain doing? I haven't got a clue. Oh. That is as smooth and shiny a finish as one could want. And again, I knew it would be. All right. Well, that is chisel number 1 in under 4 minutes. Pretty impressive, isn't it? Now, budget. Scary Sharp is relatively inexpensive. You need a piece of float glass. I've got about 8mm thick stuff that came from... Canadian company, makes planes and things. Completely forgotten their name now. Crikey. Wow. I need more coffee in my system. 10mm float glass is probably better. It's nice and flat and cheap. I got the initial 3M abrasives from Workshop Heaven. You can get them almost anywhere. They come with an adhesive backing already, which is what makes it so much better. And it's made by 3M. The quality is impeccable. Trying to do this with standard wet and dry paper is why I hated Scary Sharp. Doing it with the wrong materials gives you bad results. And they actually last a hell of a long time, even with regular use. Long term, maybe more expensive than a good sharpening stone. It's a bit not too sure though. So that worked very well. The next stage is to go with another chisel, and I'm going to use the technique that I have used and as was taught to me by my old master many years ago. I was using standard Waterstones. These are actually Sharpening glass ceramic stones. The technique, though, has not changed in any way, shape, or form. The same process it's the same process. Essentially, you're taking a medium with a grit in it. In this case, well, I don't actually think I need to start at 500, so I'm just going to go 2,000 grit to 8,000 grit, and I'm polishing the metal and creating a point where the edges meet with as few serrations. If you're looking at this with a microscope, you would see an edge like a bread knife. You want to reduce that and make that as smooth as possible so that it cuts as easily as possible with fewer snags and issues. So, well, I'm also not, although I could do the same process in removing the central section of the chisel. I'm not going to do that in this case because that's not what I've done ever. Let us just start, shall we? 2,000 grit. That's 500. That'll do. Now these stones don't need to be wet all the time like traditional Waterstones. And essentially, all you do is that. And you can actually see where in the manufacturing process it's not as flat as the stone is already. So 2,000 grit. And well, I'm going to stick exactly with my former technique. What I was taught was to seat the bevel, and without the use of a honing guide. Oh my gosh, I haven't started timing. Let's add a minute on because well, 30 seconds because I've done a little bit. So there we go, I'm seating the bevel. And again, you can see where the bevel was put on with something that had a curve in it. So I'm flattening it in areas and getting rid of that curve. I might end up with a concave bevel, sorry, a convex bevel here. And that doesn't actually make a difference. All I really care about is the cutting edge. I also don't care whether it's 25 degrees or 26 degrees or even 20 degrees. It's, you know, a variation of a degree or two won't make much of a difference. A variation of 5 degrees, like between 25 and 30, for example, yeah, that makes a difference. Okay, so and then throughout the process, I want to remove any burrs. We're getting there. Now I can hear when I'm working on the actual edge of the tool. We're getting there. It's not perfect, but in the interests of expediency, I'm going to move on because I have polished all the way up to the edge. On to 8000 grit. You can see where I knocked a divot out of this stone one day. This isn't as precise. Doing this by hand is more of a feel and takes a lot of time, a lot of practice to get right. And even so, if you're distracted by, I don't know, talking to a camera, you can slip up and carve a chunk out of the stone while you're doing it. So here we go. So I've got a small area there where I haven't managed to polish with the 8000 grit all the way up to the edge, and that is a problem. Now the stones, you have to flatten stones like this on a regular basis. With Sharpetons, because they're glass and ceramic, they last a lot longer, but they are not as flat as the Scary Sharp system. Float glass and a very, very thin bit of engineered paper or plastic with grit in it is sharper. I wasn't expecting to have this corner disappear from me. Yeah, it's still there. I'm gonna have to go back to the 2000. Nearly there. I'm still getting it. Okay. So you can see how just that edge, just that top corner, is taking ages to remove. And yeah, this is the problem. Well, where are we already? We are at 9 minutes so far. Oh, let's drop the camera. Test. We still have audio. Ah, there we go. Okay. Okay, so at that stage, we're pretty much there. And use a strop impregnated with chrome polish or something like that, just to get the final polish. And yeah, that was like 12 minutes or so. Well, 11 and a half minutes plus. Now, I think it's a shinier finish, and I suspect it's going to be sharper. Yep, that certainly is shaving easier. But it took 3 times as long. I picked up the wrong one. I picked the wrong one off the board to compare the two. This larger one is the one that was done on the Scary Sharp. So let's compare and contrast. Here we go. So the one done with the Waterstones is, well, doesn't have a micro bevel or a secondary bevel. Feels sharper. Only just. And took 3 times as long to sharpen. Now imagine if these chisels had not been brand new chisels, but somebody had used them to open a paint can or something like that. That is where, well, to be frank, that is where you need to learn how to film shiny things. Come on. There we go. That is when you need to think about, for example, I use the Robert Soulby Pro Edge here. It's one of my favorite machines for sharpening tools. Getting rid of chips and nastiness like that, a machine is much better. If that 12 minutes had been spent on a chisel that had never been sharpened, or hadn't been sharpened in 50 years, for example, you can easily lose an hour. Well, what do you guys think? Oh, hold on. I know what I think. I haven't used it to cut some wood. Let's do that, shall we? Boop, boop. But come on then. Okay, hold on. So, there we go. Well, same thing. It's basically effortless. Super shiny. Perfect chisel. All it took was time. So, I have 4 more chisels to sharpen. Can you guess, in the comments, which of these 2 systems I'm going to use? Now, I could spend a little bit more time on the Scary Sharp to get a better result. I can, well, absolutely, that's the way forward. Spend a little bit more time on that. I can use a honing guide while using the ceramic stones. I even have I think, yeah, there you go. I've got an 8,000 grit. 8,000 grit? 16,000 grits Shapton stone here if I really want to go absolutely crazy. Is it necessary to go to these extremes to get the shiniest, sharpest chisel? Not really. Not really. And I could, of course, also use the strop on the Shapton sharpened, the Scary Sharp sharpened system. That will also bring in just a little bit extra sharpness. There we go, that's the evidence. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please click like, subscribe if you haven't, and let me know what system you use and what system you prefer, and if you have Toolmac, for example, or the Robert Sorby Pro Edge, or one of those whirly round mechanical ones, if you've seen videos by anybody else, and let me know, and we'll go from there. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Goodbye. I've got some chisels to sharpen. It's all good. My phone is literally just beeped, and the email that I'm getting is the Workshop Heaven Halloween newsletter. Open up, trick or treat, with the harvest safely gathered in and the dark nights after Samhain fast approaching, the ancient country traditions of mumming, souling, and guising remain alive and well, although these days the kids know them as trick or treat at workshopheaven.com. We're getting into the spirit of the occasion with free Halloween sweets for every customer until the end of October. There we go. I love this company. I freaking love this company. And literally, I felt, as I was doing my outro, I felt my phone vibrate, and this is what came through. It could not be better timed. Workshop Heaven, they do the Scary Sharp system, they do these fantastic chisels that I'm very much looking forward to working with, and they are an awesome company. The chisels were free. I suppose I'm semi-sponsored by them, I suppose, sort of thing, but yeah, excellent tools. Ooh. Fujikawa Ori Nomi boxed set of 10 Japanese chisels. Ooh, so tempting. They're in stock as well. A specially selected grade of Hitachi white paper steel number 1 to make the Hagani layer that forms the back and the cutting edge. God, I'm tempted. Have a good day. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.